What's good, YouTube? This your boy Derek Branch here, SportsView360.com, covering New Orleans Saints today. And today we're breaking down a 2026 7 round mock draft strictly on YouTube that I ran using the Pro Football and Sports Network mock draft simulator. All of the scouting reports that you'll hear today are based on PFSN's evaluations, and the premise of this mock is simple. The Saints are moving forward under the assumption that Tyler Shough is the starting QB in 2026. But that doesn't mean that the book is closed on the quarterback forever. But it does mean that the front office has the freedom to build around him instead of constantly chasing that position. So the mock also focuses on long-term roster building, improving athleticism and size where it's missing, and creating sustainable depth across the offense and the defense. So let's get into it. At pick number 8 in the first round, we got Saints taking Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. This is a bold pick, but it's a calculated one. Love is a true running back run caliber prospect at 6 feet and around 210 pounds. He may not be as thick as some pass elite backs, but what he brings is a dynamic explosiveness. But he's a long strider with burst, vision, and elite change of speed that stresses defenses horizontally and vertically. But what really stands out about Love on tape is that his patience and his spatial awareness. He also understands how to manipulate linebackers, set up blocks, and explore once lanes opens up. So that fit perfectly with the Saints offense that has, leaned on timing, spacing, and rhythm. Long term for this team, Jeremiah Love gives the Saints something they've lacked for years: a home run threat in the backfield who can grow into a three-down weapon. He has upside like Alvin Kamara as a receiver, but the foundation is already there though. So this pick, to me, Jeremiah Love at 8, signals a commitment to offensive balance, not just survival. So I got Jeremiah Love at 8. All right. Pick 42, second round, we got Saints taking Jacoby Lane, wide receiver out of USC. So Lane to me immediately fits a need for this team that's lingered for a while. Size on the outside. I know you got Devon Villay, but you need to add another guy to that position, to that room. At 6'4", Lane is a contested catch specialist. He wins at the catch point with body control, timing, strong hands. He's not a guy that's gonna, you know, separate, get tons of separation. He's not that. But that's not his role either. The Saints already have that in, guys like Chris Olave. Missing Tippin could do that as well. But what they need is someone who can win in the red zone on third down in tight coverage. So his aggressive play style and his willingness to attack the football give him a long-term value as a binary weapon. With some refinement, I believe he could become a reliable pass catcher, a chain mover, and somebody that can produce some touchdowns. Because that's what the Saints really need going into the next season. Guys that could just get in there, you get in the red zone, you can get some touchdowns. That's what they need. So Jacoby Lane at 42 in the second round, wide receiver out of USC. At 73, I got the Saints taking Brian Parker, the second out of Duke, interior offensive lineman. So Brian Parker fits exactly what the Saints should be targeting in the middle rounds of the draft: toughness, versatility, long term value in the trenches. Now, while he played tackle at Duke, his build and his set projects best inside at a guard. What I really want the Saints to address. They need the free agency of the draft, just like they do, just like I hope they do for wide receiver. But his quickness and his hand usage can shine as well. So he can play guard, tackle, or center. A versatile. He's a versatile offensive lineman that the Saints could probably, place in a bunch of places on that line. So he's an aggressive, competitive blocker who plays with a sense of urgency on every snap. He, according to the scouting report, he fires out of his stance with good bursts, gets his hands quickly inside, and has the grip strength to latch and sustain blocks once he wins leverage. His ability to re-anchor and re-leverage makes Parker a reliable zone run blocker, especially on the backside cutoffs and second level releases. He understands angles, his landmarks, consistently finish plays, which fit well with what the Saints want from its personnel in the interior line. So while Parker does not have ideal length and can get stacked by longer defenders, his mobility, the balance, and effort allow him to survive and compete at a very high level. He still needs refinement in keeping his eyes up and maintaining posture through contact. But those are, a lot of stuff could be coachable. So Brian Parker, the second out of Duke, offensive guard at number 73 for me. All right. Um, at 132, I got Aiden Fisher, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Not Notre Dame, my bad. Excuse me. Out of Indiana, who is playing for the national championship in the next 24 hours. So this is a guy, according to what I've read, Aiden Fisher does not win with elite measurables. He wins with instincts, effort, and football intelligence. He plays fast, diagnoses quickly, and brings real value as a run defender and a blitzer. His leadership, toughness stands out on tape, and his production backs it up. So for the Saints, Fisher profiles as a core special teams player early with the ability to grow into a rotational linebacker role. He fits the type of high alpha culture peach teams need to survive injuries and roster turnover. So I made the selection at 132, Aiden Fisher, because I know Father Time can come at any time for Demario Davis. Pete Warner has a tendency of not consistently playing really good for a stretch of games. Then he turns it back on. This is a guy that I believe had that potential, along with Danny Stutzman, to usher in the next era of great Saints linebacker play. So Aiden Fisher at 132, fourth round. So the other pick in this round, I got the Saints taking a tight end, Jack Andrees. So he is not a traditional line bruiser, but he brings legitimate receiving value. He's quick, explosive, and advanced as a route runner. He can stretch the seams, work underneath zones, and generate yards after the catch, according to the scouting report. So with the Saints still searching for, to me, a consistent, another additional tight end outside Jawan Johnson, Idris gives them a modern receiving option who can grow with the quarterback. So to me, that's a developmental pick with upside in the current pass focused NFL. So Jake Indry is the other 4th round selection at pick 137. All right. So round 5, right? I got the Saints taking offensive tackle Riley Malman. Malman is not a flashy tackle, but they're all not flashing. We're really being honest. But he's technically sound for a player his size. He moves really well, recovers quickly, and plays with balance and pass protection. He fits best in a pass-heavy system where technique and awareness matter more than raw power. Long for the long haul, he projects as a swing tackle depth with potential starter upside if he continues to develop. So Riley Malman, offensive tackle, Wisconsin, at pick 150. At 172, round six, I got the Saints taking Jake Slaughter. So Slaughter is a center, brings experience and toughness. He's not an elite athlete, but he's smart, physical, capable of handling interior responsibilities. So for the Saints, it's about you're taking Slaughter at center at 172. It's about depth, insurance, interior offensive line, continuity. That stuff is very important. And I think Slaughter gives them a reliable development option. You got to start looking at the center position. When I think when Aaron McCall is healthy, he's one of the best in the game. Top five, top 10. Last year, you saw the fall off. But Tyler Shough was able to mask some of those deficiencies. But it would be better if you have your best resource starting in that position. Will Clapp, we didn't really see nothing from Will Clapp because he was going for the season during the preseason. So let's look at stocking that center position. No, I'm not saying push Eric McCoy out the door because I think he's the best in the game, one of the best in the game at center. But let's have better insurance options if he goes down again. So Jake Slaughter at 172. All right. All right. The next selection, I think, is round six as well. 187. Um, Zavarian Harris, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Um, that's a guy, man, that I think the Saints, another developmental prospect. He needs somebody in his 3-4 defense that can come in and have, a rotational guy that can, make have to play a couple games, few downs, just in case somebody goes down, one of the starters goes down with an injury. He can come in and produce. Hopefully, he can be that next. That. And I mean, it's crazy how Malcolm Roach left the Saints and got paid and came a key contributor for that Sean Payton's Denver Broncos. Maybe this is a guy that can follow that same path. I'm not saying leave the Saints, but become a mainstay on that defensive line. Develop, and maybe he becomes a starter down the road. But Zach Zex man, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Xavion Harris at 187. So there it is. My 7 round mock draft for New Orleans Saints, YouTube only. So I got Jeremiah Love at 8, first round, Jacoby Lane at second round, Brian Park in the third, Aiden Fisher, linebacker, 132, fourth round. Come back in the fourth round again. Jack Idris, Texas tight end, 137. Morale Malman at 150, pick 150. 172, Jake Slaughter and Xavion Harris at 187, the final pick. So overall, closes out, the Saints add explosive talent on offense, reinforce the trenches, and invest in developmental defenders who can grow within the system. But most importantly, though, for this team, this approach allows the Saints to properly, you know, give Tyler Shough a strong look beyond 2026 without forcing unrealistic expectations on him. Now, there will be high expectations placed on Tyler Shough because next year is you going in, you playing all 17 games, hopefully. And the expectation is that the Saints compete for the division. But if this is the direction the Saints take, I think the foundation for 2026 And be honest, I'm ready to being laid. So let me know what y'all think of this mock draft. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.